Hi. Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you. I love your hair.
Thank you so much. I actually did the color today, so it's looking new. So thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Oh no. Hello. Hi.
This is so cute.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all.
This is so exciting. Oh my god.
I know there's so many of you. I've never done this is the first workshop with loads of different people. Like it's always been me and another person. So it's nice to have everyone. Hi.
Hi, Mandeep.
How are you? So how are you all doing?
Good. I had a long nap.
You all did the thumbs up. I really like that. That's totally thinking right there. I'm just saying.
Same brain.
I love it.
Hello. Can anyone hear me? Sorry, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Hi.
Hi.
Everyone.
I just woke up from a really long nap. I was like, I'm gonna like look nice for this, and then I was like, let me nap for 2 hours, and then like I just woke up. So.
Oh my god.
Well, you look beautiful as always, Halima.
Thank you, babes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
I know that some of you aren't UK based, so where's everyone calling from? I'm from London. I'm calling from London. Where are you guys? It's weird having a call with people from all around the world. So where are you all based?
Canada.
Canada, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Me and Halima are both in Southampton.
Yeah, we go to the same uni. We also do the same course.
We're also friends. Halima, if you want to mention that.
Well, so yeah, we do the same course. We're literally friends. So.
It's also that, just like on a side note, we're also friends.
Yeah.
Are you both in Southampton now? Are you at uni at the moment?
Uni. Yeah, Southampton's where we go to uni.
How is it with everything?
It's not that bad, I don't think.
We get weekly COVID tests.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Wow. Okay.
That's really good.
It's not like the invasive one. It's just like we have to sit in a tube every morning.
Yeah.
I start uni next week, but mine's all online, unfortunately.
Which uni do you go to?
We're allowed in for like 3 hours on a Saturday or something. Like we're allowed. Yeah, I know. They gave like every course a section of 3 hours in a week, and mine fell on the weekend, so I get 3 hours of indoor time on a Saturday. But we're all like this. We're all over Zoom.
Which uni do you go to?
I go to CSM in London, and it's just they've been dreadful. Not to be honest, like the whole like they've been super unclear with the whole thing, to be honest. So it's nice to hear that you guys can actually go in and have a fun time, have an actual good time.
Yeah, we have face-to-face lectures sometimes.
Yeah,
which are interesting.
You have to leave 2 or 3 spaces in between each other and rows.
Or at least I think face-to-face works a lot better after the end of last year, when everything was kind of completely online, and I found it so hard to concentrate, and I found it so hard to kind of engage. So I think even if it's spaced out and weird, I'd much rather be actually in building if I had the chance to than
I
haven't gotten used to it.
I mean, I missed it so much. And we had a lecture last week, and I was just so happy to be there. I was just like, and this is usually not a feeling I usually have, but I was just so happy to be in the space. I could have cried. I was overwhelmed.
It's half our lectures are online and half our lectures are in person, but I never know which one is which. So I went to a seminar in person, and then I found out it was online.
Really?
And I stayed home for an online lecture, and I realized it was in person.
Do they not tell you, or do they just, they do?
I'm sure they did tell me. I just don't read the emails that much.
That's probably going to be me. I'm going to be pretending I think my 3 hours is another time, so I can go in and be like, oh no, oh whoops, I must have got it wrong. Well, I mean, I'm going to hand over to you all. I'm obviously, this is your workshop. I'm just here to say hi. So I think
Thank you, Izzy.
Time that I dip out and let you all do your thing. So good luck.
People watching us right now.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
No way! I thought it was just us talking.
No.
People are watching.
Okay. 6 attendees.
I'm just like, yeah, I go to the University of Southampton. Here's my address.
Yeah. Send me fan mail if you want.
Here's my number. Here's my emails.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Here's my credit card info.
No, there are people watching who are excited
Yeah.
to hear you guys talk and probably less excited to hear us talk about lectures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dip out, but I will also be watching. I will just turn my camera and microphone off and all that, but I will also be watching.
Sure.
So adios, everyone.
Hi. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
No worries. Let me know if you need
Thank
any help
you.
or technical help. I will be here as your technician. So, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, shall I lead? Hey everybody, how's
Yeah.
it going? Thank you all for joining me
Good.
today. Should we all introduce ourselves and like what we do?
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds like a good place to start.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I'll go first. So my name is Habima Jabril. I'm a 20-year-old history student and I'm the founding editor of Shea magazine, which is a print and online zine for people of color, marginalized genders. Amy, let's go next.
Cool. I think I'm like the only non-student here. I am
Oh
Amy.
no, I'm not a student either. Sorry.
Oh, that's good to hear. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I feel less alone. I am Amy. I am 23 and I run Bad Form, which is a literary review by Black, Asian and racialized community writers.
Woo woo. I'm a big fan. I am a big fan of everyone, but big fan, yeah.
Do you want to go next?
Okay, sure, yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Anne and I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of Isa magazine. So we are based in Toronto, but we accept work from like everyone. From everywhere. So yeah.
And I'm Amandeep. I am a 20? Yeah, I'm a 20-year-old history and film student, and I am the founder and currently the sole member of Denoument, which is a sort of like a literary journal. Like the aim is to post works of fiction by marginalized groups.
Lovely. Thank you all for joining us today. Okay, so I have questions written down because I'm really organized.
Yeah.
And the first question is, what is your space and what does it focus on? Which we already went through, so ignore that question. Create your space is my next question to each of you, and I'll say my answer last.
Okay. Who wants to go first? Oh God. Okay, I can go.
Okay.
I can go. Okay. So Isa magazine is officially a month old, and yeah, it's crazy. So I launched last month, so that was pretty wild, but I worked on it for like 2.5 months, like just like researching, doing my own thing, and yeah, I finally launched. So basically like my aim is to, okay, I should tell you a backstory. I was going through a crisis. So I graduated university last year in 2019, and I had a full-time job in, not really corporate, but it was like a 9-to-5 job. And honestly, it was not very good. Yeah, it was so draining. So I decided to do my own thing, quit my 9-to-5 job. It took a lot of courage because this decision not only affects me, but it affects like the people around me. Like it affects my boyfriend who I currently live with. So it's like, hey, like I don't know if I'm gonna make any money, but should I do it? So it was like a lot of mental work. So it was a lot of like personal decisions, but also a lot of like, I guess like doubt I was going through, and then just like fighting that with like research. So I was like, you know what? I feel better when I'm learning. So I decided to do my own thing. Launched Isa, and that was so crazy. And yeah, I've been connecting with so many like wonderful people. So although my focus is like BIPoC individuals and like, you know, youth and young women, I'm also like open to accepting work from like the other marginalized communities that fall under like the LGBTQ plus community. So that's pretty great. But yeah, I list everything down in my website. But I guess that's a little backstory. I don't know. I feel like I'm everywhere. I would like to apologize, but yeah.
That's amazing though, the fact that you can quit your job. Like that's such a brave.
Yeah, that's like so brave.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Like my savings are like boop, So yeah, and I don't have a lot of money. Like I guess I'm considered working class, not really. I don't even know where I stand, but I just have no money right now and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going forward because I believe so much in my magazine. And yeah, I'm like very passionate right now, so I'm hoping it never goes away.
Yeah, that's so amazing. That's really so amazing.
Thank you. Thanks.
Anybody like to go next?
I'll go next, I guess. Denouement is it kind of came about in an impulse decision. Like Kalima was just like there for it because like I FaceTimed her during it and I was like, I want to create a magazine. It was at like 11 p.m. at night.
I was so scared when you messaged me because it was such a random message, like, can I FaceTime you? And I was like, shit, what have I done? I've done something. She texted me like a full stop. I was like, God.
But like I think I'm trying to think when I started. I think I started at beginning of October, and again, like it was an impulse decision, and my savings as well, complete dip.
Right?
I have to like. There's the website, and then there's everything else, and I'm just like, I don't have enough money in my student loan for this. But yeah, no, but like I feel like it isn't like I like writing, and I like the fact that I don't need to just write about like what my experience is a minority. Like myself, I like writing ghost stories. Like it's you don't, just because like you're a minority doesn't mean you have to like constantly write about it. Like, and that's what Denouement is. It's just basically like getting out your talent. Get your talent out there, no matter what you write. It doesn't have to be like, you know, this is a hard-hitting novel about what it is to be like a person of color. It can just be something you enjoy writing. Like if you have the passion for it, Denouement is the place for it.
What made you want to start Denouement?
Just like I wanted, like I write for Ashamed as well, but like, and I do love Ashamed. Shout out to Ashamed.
Yeah.
But like, I wanted a chance to sort of explore more a fictional side of things, like, and I followed a lot of fictional online magazines, and I was like, wait, I want to do that. And I also wanted a space for men of color too, because looking on these online zines, there wasn't a lot of space for them. I was like, wait, no, men of color can be creative too. They have like a space in this narrative that I want to create for them. So yeah, I guess that was like my motivation for it.
Nice. I'm excited for you. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Amy, if you want to write.
Yes.
So I started Bad Form. It's actually Bad Form's birthday on Monday. So it's almost a year since I started Bad Form, which is a bit mad. I started Bad Form for a pretty specific reason, actually. There were less than 100 books published by British BAME authors in 2016, and lots of recent studies of the traditional literary magazines, so that's Granta, London Review of Books, etc. They very rarely review books by writers of colour, and lots of publishing houses, publicity teams are very focused on getting reviews in those places, as well as the broadsheets. I know this because I work at Penguin Random House. I started Bad Form as I was starting my internship at Penguin. So Bad Form was sort of a reaction to the work I was doing in my like corporate 9 to 5, in not really supporting the authors, you know, as much as I could, because, you know, intern life, and Bad Form was my space to do that. Really interesting what you were saying about the men of colour lack of spaces. I also noticed that a lot in like writing spaces. There's very few spaces for men, so we're especially open, not especially, but you know, we're definitely open to men and non-binary people. especially Black men. I feel like there's very few of them writing. I'm very proud for the Black men especially who feel that they can come forward and write for us. So in terms of creating a space, I think it was something very specific that I set out to do with Bad Form, and that sort of made it easier. It's sort of, review, it does what it says on the tin. we want book reviews, short stories, poems and essays. That's it. And it needs to be about books. Well, the fiction can sort of not be about books, but like it's about books. And I think for me that's sort of like having that very strict message and sticking to it has really helped me carve out a space, though it's really taken a while. And I'll be the first to admit that we grew a significant amount in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement and the capitalistic move of publishing houses, especially to engaging with diverse platforms such as ourselves. So it's been a really interesting year in terms of making that space. Our online community has grown. Our little database of writers has grown from sort of like friends of friends for the first issue, and now we're way oversubscribed every time we have a print issue, which is sad, which is why we're now developing the website. But yeah, in terms of creating, for me, it's just been a time thing and a niche thing, because there's so many really cool zines. I think you have to, in this day and age, be really specific about what you want to do, for people to know. Like when I see Ashamed, like I know what it's about, like I know like that's the Ashamed aesthetic. Like I don't even need to see like the sort of like who's posted that to know that that's an Ashamed piece, and I think that's really important. Just it'll sort of not necessarily stand out for the sake of standing out, but know what your purpose is. And I think if I'd known that at the beginning, I think I could have reduced myself a lot of stress. So in terms of creating space, that's what I tell people.
That's such good advice.
It's
something that you said that I was like, oh my god, me, but then I lost it, so I forgot what I was going to say. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, so why I created Ashamed. I created Ashamed in 2019, in the start of 2019. I was writing for another online publication at the time. I was writing for two, and I was feeling so bad about my writing. I was like, God, at least it was so difficult for me to write as well. And I love writing, it's like what I do, but like it felt like a chore. I wasn't enjoying it, and I was like, I think I need to do something different. And I had always, like, I say, like when I was younger, I really want to be the editor-in-chief of Vogue. Like I really want to do that, and I want to like make my own space and do something. And so I was like, and I had the idea for Ashamed, which wasn't called Ashamed then, it was called Pardon. That was a time, that was an experience when it was called Pardon.
That's cool.
So it was called Pardon at the time, and I was like, let me just do it. I have student finance, it's there, I'm just gonna use it. It'll make me sad that it's going, but I'm just gonna use it because
it's government money. It's government money.
just gonna use it. So I used it to make the website, and made the website myself, and it was trash. The website was ugly, but I did it and it was fine. And then I did a call out, and Amandeep was like, I want to do it. And Amandeep messaged me. She was like, are you applying for this? And I was like, it's mine. I own it. And so yeah, I kind of just did it more. It was a reaction to the fact that I've been writing for a while. I've since I was like 15, and I was writing for the same kind of zines from when I was 15 to when I was 19. And a lot of my white peers were writing for these massive publications, or like they started like getting massive bylines in these like places that I would like send pitches to, and my pitches would always get rejected because some of the things I talk about would include race and stuff like that. They'd always be rejected by these places, and I was like where do I fit in this industry when I feel like I just can't move up? So I was like, I want to create something like a fun space for us to just like talk about. We can talk about serious things, but we can also just like have fun and talk about art and do stuff like that. So that's why I created Ashamed, and I had something more to say about that, but I completely forgot. Yeah, that's what Ashamed is at the minute, and that's why I created it. But yeah,
good job. Love that.
It passed its first birthday a month ago, didn't it?
Oh yeah, Ashamed turned 1 in
September.
September, is it? I thought maybe it was August or something. I think it was August.
Maybe.
It was, because your article was the one that started it all. Yeah.
Damn.
It was about Ariel, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Is what you said, Amy, about bad form getting a lot of attention from the Black Lives Matter movement. That's the same thing that happened with Ashamed. Ashamed started to get a lot more attention because people were like, these are some zines owned by Black creators that you should follow, and Ashamed started to get a lot more attention. And I felt it was so weird during that period because I was so sad. And for all of a sudden, people were much more interested in Ashamed than they had ever been. And it was weird because, like, as much as I was happy that people were like now reading the amazing work that like people write for us, it was very bittersweet because like it sucks that this is like because of Black pain and trauma. So it was really weird. It was a very weird few months when that was all occurring. But yeah. Sorry, I don't know if anyone's gonna say anything else. My next point.
I actually had something to come up. So I was reading an article by Refinery29. I don't know if you read them, but it mentioned how, like, one article, it mentioned how like during the Black Lives Matter movement and like now during this time, like a lot of white people are like profiting off Black pain. I don't know if you know about like consultants that are hired by big companies. They're usually like white people who like negotiate these like safe spaces, and then, you know, they talk about like workplace like racial justice and everything. So I just wanted to make that point. Like, that's crazy. Like, what, like, as a person of color, like, I don't think I would feel safe talking to a space when there's like a white person who like committed that trauma to me. Like, I wouldn't feel safe. And a lot of the people like in the article that was being interviewed said the exact same thing. So that's just something that came up. I want to mention that. But yeah, I don't know. It's intense.
Definitely. One of my other, did someone say something? Sorry, I hate Zoom. I never know if someone said something. Okay.
Like, I don't know whether anyone watching wants to ask us a question.
Oh yeah, you can ask us.
We're probably gonna run out of things to talk about soon, so go ahead if you want to.
One of my next point, this wasn't a question, but I wrote whiteness in publishing, and I saw someone say something on Twitter recently that really like irritated me, and it was this particular like journal person. It was a white woman, just to clarify. She had mentioned something about how students shouldn't be writing for these silly little blogs that have started popping up for free and stuff like that, and how students and people should just like hone their craft and pitches and they will get commission and stuff like that. And I thought it really, at first I was thinking, and it really kind of irritated me slightly because, and I understand what she's talking about, the sentiment, because people should be paid for their work.
Yeah, but there's obstacles to why, like, for instance, people like us would get rejected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just something, it really annoyed me because I was like, when you think about it, it's not just for people of color anyway, just about honing a pitch. Yeah. You can write the best pitch, and if a white editor doesn't get it, then they don't get it. Do you know what I mean? If they don't want it. And especially like now with the Black Lives Matter, people are talking about race a lot more. Like, it's interesting before that people didn't want that kind of work from people of color, and now all of a sudden that's all they want from people of color. They just want you to write about your trauma and your pain.
Yeah.
But that, I think what she was saying was just really interesting to me, because like places like Galdem wouldn't exist if that was the logic that, you know, that they use at that time, because all the time people of color like have to work in these spaces and try and like exist creatively in those spaces, because like those unpaid little blogs I think have some of the best content, you know, that these other larger, more popular publications just don't want, because they want a specific thing for what's trending or whatever will get them the most likes at that particular time. So I don't know what you guys think about that, because I thought that was really interesting when she mentioned it.
I think, like, going back to what you were saying about like white people not really understanding like people of color pitches, like there was a zine a couple of months back who I love this zine, but like I pitched an article about like South Asian culture and sexuality, and like I'm sure the editor meant no harm, but like she didn't really understand some of the like for instance, she didn't understand some words, or she would ask me to like talk more about imperialism when it wasn't really about imperialism. So like there's just a lack of understanding there that I think you don't get with people of color led magazines. Like if I said to you, Halima, yo, you know, let's talk about diaspora, you'd understand what I was saying, but it's just harder for, I think, when there's a lack of understanding there.
Well, I think that's a really interesting point. The other thing I worry about, especially with the sort of magazine and spaces for BIPoC, POC, BAME, is this this conflating of non-whiteness with community. I'm very proud to say that Bad Form is a community of writers, but there isn't necessarily a natural affection between, for example, Black and Asian communities, or Black and South Asian communities, etc., etc., or South Asian and East Asian. I mean, the geographical connection, and that's about it. So although we may, for example, in the UK, have a connection, it's our non-whiteness that is the connection, rather than some sort of innate POC specialness, or with our spaces is that it becomes an excuse to lump us all in as one. You may have seen there was a book bought, which is a collection of short stories in the crime area. It's an anthology. It was bought by HarperCollins this week, and all the short stories are going to be written by authors of color, and it's collated by a South Asian very good writer and editor who's collated things before. My question is, why are they being collated all together? Why not just involve white people in those short stories as well? Because I'm not sure, as a mixed race Asian person, how my discussion of a crime, detective, is particularly more or less relevant than a white person's, because I don't personally have a different, whereas if it was a Black-led and Black-based collection of crime stories, well, that's interesting. There's something in that, because that's, in the UK especially, the Black community and their relationships with the police is very different than the South Asian community, etc., etc. Sorry, it's a bit of a random example, but I feel like it reflects sometimes how people see our spaces. So I think that creating our spaces is really, really important. But at the same time, I think we should also question why we make these spaces and who is benefiting from them, because I worry about Bad Form that actually it's sort of this external white crowd who look at us and say, yeah, we're advertising with them, that's us sorted from a diversity front. And I'm not really sure what the answer is, because I love places like Galdem and things like that, but I see it happening to them, and if it happens to them, it can happen to us. So I'm always interested in these panels and things, like what other people's views are on it, like why your motivation was to make a space for sort of all non-white people or people of colour, or whatever you refer to yourselves as, rather than just sort of of your own immediate culture. Yeah. Like, what was the motivation?
Interesting question. For me, anyway, I think it comes from the fact that, from the fact that I'm a historian. Well, I'm a historian. I will be a historian when I graduate. And I love learning about other cultures and other experiences and stuff like that. So I think that's what I loved about Galdem, is that I was learning so much about other people through Galdem and the different South Asian experiences and different Black experiences. And I just found it really interesting. I think that's why I, anyway, wanted it to be people of color based, because I think we have such different experiences, and I didn't necessarily think of it as maybe putting us all in one space. I kind of just thought I just think it's interesting to learn about these different people, and to have a space where we can just share those things and those different experiences. But that was just, for me anyway, food ashamed, just because I like to learn about those people.
For me, I never really thought about it, because I come from a working class area where it's it really is working class. So everyone, no matter whether you're Black or South Asian or Muslim, anyone, it's a melting pot. There was I've grown up surrounded by people of different color my entire life, so I think I naturally just think of us all as an us, because I've grown up like that. There's literally been no other option for me. So I guess that's why I lumped them together. I guess if lumping together is what we're using.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Canada is like very diverse, I guess, and the city I'm in, like, I'm just outside Toronto, so I'm not like specifically in Toronto, but I'm in like the Greater Toronto area, so I'm like an hour away. So I'm in Brampton, and it's very diverse. And where was I heading at? Oh yeah, I wanted to mention how, like, Amy, that's a really good point. Like, it's a very challenging one because, to be honest, I actually didn't even think about that. Like, our, like, those that don't fall under BIPoC, like, will they like be offended or anything? And I thought about how, like, a lot of, like, especially in the media and like in publishing, like, there's so much opportunities for them, and I feel like, I don't know, if it's a small space like this, I feel like it wouldn't really impact them, but eventually, like, down the line, like in the future, if we grow and like it's like a really big company, then I think that's like an important thing to tackle. But yeah, I don't know, I actually really did not think about that. I just thought of it as like, I need a space, and I'm pretty sure like I'm not the only one who would like want this or like benefit from it, kind of thing. Because like yeah, again, like when I started the magazine, it came from like, I guess, like from frustration. It was like I was pitching to a lot of like publications as well, and just getting rejected. It's so painful, and especially when you're just thriving to like go high. I finished school, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do with my life? And there was nothing there for me, so I decided I'm just gonna start on my own thing. So yeah, I don't
I
know.
have to say as well, when
Sorry, my mother is texting me.
okay.
Oh.
I remember when I was thinking about making Ashamed, and I was speaking to my friends about it, and I wasn't sure at first. At first, I think I was like thinking of like opening it up to everybody, like it wasn't just going to be for like people of color. And then my friends were like, yeah, I'd love to write for it. I'd love to write for your magazine, blah, blah, blah. And like, I go to University of Southampton, which I've already said, come and find me. I do a history degree, very, very white. So all my friends here are also white. So as I was saying this to them, and they're like, I want to write. I was like, this is exactly the problem that I have been encountering, like when I was writing. And now I'm making a case where all the people who write for magazine are also white. So I was like, no, like, I love you.
Literally, Halima, you are my only friend who is a person of color.
In history, like dead ass, like,
Oh my gosh.
so white.
Like in your area?
When I at uni.
Yeah,
Oh,
in our
uni.
friendship groups.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only person of color in mine.
I'm the only black person
okay.
as well, but so that's why I thought like, oh, like that's why I wanted to make it like a POC space only. But I guess also like I'm the president, or I am the president of FemSoc at the moment, and like we have Feminist Society at university, and we have Women of Color Soc at uni as well. And I just, there's something about those spaces, like I really, really love FemSoc, and I really, really love Women of Color Soc because of the community that we have in those spaces, and the fact that like I just learned so much from these groups of people, and just learning from them, and like I just felt safe. Like I was born in Ireland, and I live in a place called Hertfordshire that's also, these two spaces are very, very white. And when I came to uni and I found spaces like FemSoc and Women of Color Soc, there was just a safeness that I can't explain that I felt in those spaces. Like, and it really made like my first year of uni so special when I found those spaces. And like Southampton is not diverse, but when you come from somewhere that is so not diverse, then when you get something so small, it's so big to you. That is Southampton. That's what it was for me. So I guess that's why I felt the need to make Ashamed like that. But that's really interesting what you've said, Amy.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Sorry to
So good. Like, wow.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like an attack or anything. It's literally something only because I've been constantly thinking about it, and I'm just like always curious where other people came from. Halima, it was really interesting what you're saying. I set up a magazine at university, which was like an arts magazine. And I really felt by like 3 years in that it was like incredibly white. And actually after I've left, it's now been a year and a half, and the team is all white, and everyone who writes for it is white. And it's like a running joke at my university. It's like the arty-farty English literature magazine. And it's like, that's not what my intention was. So I'm so glad that you like saw it and flagged that before you started, because you can't like you can't really undo it once you started.
Yeah.
So like props to you for noticing.
Yeah. My next question, unless anybody has anything else to add about this, somebody asked us a question. I think it's interesting how we're moving away from the terms BAME in the UK to avoid lumping non-white communities altogether. What do y'all think about that? I think that's a good thing, personally. We didn't have BAME in Ireland, so when I came here and people were like, "You're a BAME," I was like, "I'm a what? Do you just like use a slur?"
actually so confused. I've never heard of that word before.
BAME stands for Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic, right?
I think
Yeah.
BAME is sort of the British BIPoC because we don't really have an I.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't
Yeah.
have an Indigenous.
We don't really have an I. No.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
guess like
Good. But
I didn't hear BAME before I came to Southampton, and Halima told me because you were BAME officer.
yeah, I was. A mistake. One of my many mistakes was doing that role.
Yeah.
You live and you learn, honestly.
Was that in school? Was that in
Yeah.
school?
Yes. Oh,
It was
what?
basically like she was a liaison with the lecturers and the students.
It was a mistake. To be fair, I only learned what BAME meant when I was in my first year of uni, like at FEMSOC. They mentioned BAME, and I was like, what's BAME? But yeah. No, yeah. I think it's good they're moving away because I feel like we do just lump everyone together and we think everyone's experiencing.
Especially considering like the tension between some communities. Like I will be the first person to admit that Indian, like South Asians, and especially like light-skinned South Asians, are not the nicest people when it comes to colorism. Like I can't really speak to that personally because like I'm almost white. But like I know for a fact, like some of my family members who are darker skinned, they get sort of discriminated against by people in my own family, and we are not the nicest people to Black people in general. Like, so I think it's good that we're moving away from that because it's just sort of like pretending not to see the conflict between communities.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting what you were saying about also, you know, not knowing what BAME was. You guys weren't sure, and it is, you know, someone was having a joke about like, you know, I think it was like a Black comedian who was like, I didn't know I was Black. I didn't know I was BAME. Sorry, not Black. Like that's the new thing. And it's a question we've been tackling a lot. I think one of my team members, Sophie, our deputy features editor, is here, and she'll back me up. We've been having a lot of discussions on how to label ourselves. Because obviously, you know, we're not Black, brown, and there is a real assumption in the wake of Black Lives Matter that bad form is. We actually like stuck big photos of us up on our website because although there's like Black members of the team, like obviously not, you know. Hello, Sophie. And it was, you know, if you call yourselves a literary review by Black, Asian and racialized communities, it's quite hard to stick on a front cover. If you call yourself a magazine by people of color, well, it's just sort of, you might as well say BAME, like what's the difference in my eyes personally. I tried to interview someone and they said, we don't like people of color, how about marginalized communities? I changed it to marginalized communities, and someone who's white and disabled messaged me like, can I write for you? And I was like, I just don't know what to do. So we've gone at this point with Black, Asian and racial communities, because that separates people out, but it's still not perfect. We're very open to suggestions if anyone has any.
Same, honestly.
Yeah.
Up at night for like a very long time. Like, I don't know if anybody saw it. Like, I was literally having a panic on a shame. Like, you kept seeing our bio kept changing at one point.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
kept changing. I was like, I don't know what to call us. I'd be like, I just don't know what to do. And I tried to
I didn't want to bring it up.
oh my god, everybody saw them. I just panicked, and I kept trying to like look up where these words came from, because I think when BIPoC, like people started using Black, Indigenous, people of color, people started talking about where these words came from. So like I tried to look up like where women of color came from, people of color came from, like where these terms first stem from, and obviously what they've become now. But I still don't know what to do. I was just like, people of color, I'm just gonna leave it at that for now, because I can't keep having these literal like breakdowns. I keep changing the bio. So
Yeah, honestly.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if you also like, you know how it's not just LGBTQ plus, it's like 2S, LA, like it's so long. I had to like educate myself. So yeah, I was going through that like time too. I was like, oh my god, I don't know where these terms are coming from. I need to learn. So yeah, Google is really good. So
yeah, it's also like how you bring up the LGBT community, like you don't know, because like I know like some magazines will put queer, and personally I don't have an issue with it, but I know some people will have an issue being called queer. Like you don't know like where to go with that, really.
Yeah, it's so hard. I actually had a question for all of you guys. So like I do have like a bunch of like white people that do pitch to me, which is fine. And I don't know if I'm going in the right way, but I look at what they're writing, and if it's like only related to like I guess like topics of race, then I will accept it. Like I don't know if that's, as like Amy was like saying, like is that like a bad thing? Like am I like, you know, am I like not giving them a chance? Because like I just literally just don't want any cis white males in my publication, like if that makes any sense. Like I don't want to Chad, like that's a term here. Yeah, like I just don't want to Chad in my, like, no. So I don't know if like that's the wrong way to go. I don't know, it's just question mark everywhere.
I mean, you know, this is a question we've had to answer a few times. Our general answer has been no, there's lots of places where you can write. This is not one for you. And, you know, you're never going to make everyone happy. So there's always going to be, there's always going to be someone who's unhappy with you, to be frank. But that being said, we do have someone who's white who has written for us, and we're actually collaborating with. There's a blog called Literandra, which is an African literature blog. They are a married couple, Akinye and Dr. Alessandra. Dr. Alessandra has her PhD in African literature. She currently teaches Nigerian literature. And she is working with us on our African history issue because we're working with Literandra as a whole. But it's a really interesting question, because we have, you know, we've had a lot of abuse for doing that. And as much as I say this is our space, I mean, also this is volunteer led. These magazines, you know, I'm not making any money off of this. My team members aren't making any money off of this. If this really offends you, make your own, is my current thing. I say that to white people who I reject. If it upsets you, make your own. People who are upset with our space, make your own. We don't get paid, you know, we're not offending it, you know, we're not hurting anyone. We write about books, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
So I feel like it, you know.
Oh my god, I need you in my life.
I think we have a question.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yeah.
Q&A.
How can you ensure that only BIPoC/BAME people are submitting? Is it just about trusting the writer?
Oh, I had this issue recently.
Yeah.
I had this issue. This wasn't to do with writing, but it was, I was looking for a graphics person, and the person ended up not being a person of color. It was a white person, and they sent me a message, and they're like, "I'm aware this is like a POC only space. I just want to be clear, like, that I'm white." And I was like, "Well, if you know, why have you applied?"
She literally tried.
I was like, they were talking about they're marginalized because they're like part of the LGBTQIA community, and I was like, and
This marginalized word is really a lot. It's just really a lot. Like, everyone is marginalized to some extent, unless you're,
I was like
Prince Harry, even Prince
exactly.
Harry.
There is some place out there for you. It's just not ashamed.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think we Ashamed also faced that as well, with the abuse that people would be like it was a lot. But I also love making, I don't know if it's controversial, I love making white people mad. Like, I love it. Like, if I know that if they're mad, I'm doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
that's so good. I feel like I don't have like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I'm just like like I don't know what I'm doing, and I like don't want to offend anyone, but I think I just need to get that like boundary really formed.
I think that's the thing, you know, our spaces do offend. They really, really do. The response to our Young Writers Prize, like Sophie was there when I was like having an emotional breakdown. All these people are angry at me. People were angry because it was a Young Writers Prize, so people who were 26 were upset because it was like 25 and under. People will get offended about anything.
For Denoument, we really haven't had the chance to reject writers. I usually communicate through Instagram. I know that's probably not like professional or whatever, but like at least I can like sort of check. I can check.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can like you are a person of color, please come write for me.
I don't usually check. I just trust, and clearly that has not worked for me. So,
but like,
we have a little
my thing is that like, it's people of color who can only write, but there can be white editors if you have experience with editing. But like, because I think like, as long as you're not, I know this is gonna sound really bitchy, but as long as you're not creating the content, I think like it doesn't matter to me whether you're part of it or not.
That's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, because for me, like, the editorial process is such like a big part of like the magazine, at least for bad form. So that's really interesting. I'd never consider it. I think also for me, because I'm so white passing, and like that's been like very useful to me in publishing spaces, but so I can't like trust off a picture. So we literally, because I know that I look like this, so we just have a tick box and our Google form which says like, I confirm that I am Black, Asian, or
That's such a good idea.
That's a good idea. Tick box, Google form. I'm writing that down.
And I didn't for the first 2 issues, and then someone asked me, and I was like, well, I don't know. So there could still be people out there who are, you know, white and have written for us, but you know, that's on them.
Literally, that's where I've come to now as well. It's on you if you've been and you've now invaded the space. So
I feel like they're not reading the website. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, they're not reading it. I'm just like, oh, excuse me. So I get it.
Like, stop colonizing the spaces, please. I've had enough.
I wonder if you have any like practical questions about like the admin side of setting up, because like I know I had like a bunch of questions when I started that I learned via Google. So if there's any way we can give any help on like practical
etc. I do. Well, not really admin, but more of like running a team. So like I technically have a team, not really, like I'm basically a one-woman show, but I have very close friends that like volunteer for me, and they're really, really great, but they're so busy with their own lives, so I don't try to hand them anything unless I really need help. But like, when, like, did you set up a team when you first started, or were you just kind of alone? Like, how did that grow? Because I know Ashamed is so big.
Ashamed is big. When I first started, it was just me, obviously, and then I was like, I need a team. So I think if I was to redo this, I love my team, and our team has changed and evolved since throughout the year, but I would have started with a smaller team when I first started, because I think I was going a bit over my head, because I thought I had this whole thing like, we need to continuously produce content, so I need a big team so there's always content to put on the site. Not realizing that I'm also like not a machine, like, and I was also the only person editing. So at that time, at the beginning, so like for me to get such a large team at the start, that was a mistake. Like I should not have done that. I should have started small, because we were small. So because as well as having a team, we're also accepting submissions at the same time. So it was like a lot. So I would have definitely started with a small team. It just works well. You're able to produce, because I remember at the beginning as well, because I was the only person editing at the time, there people would write things, and one of my very, very dear friends, Zara, I always talk about this because I feel horrible, but she wrote a fashion piece for London, I think it was about London Fashion Week, or no, it was about New Fashion Week, and then she wrote it, and because we were just publishing so much and I was trying to do so much as well as doing my first year of uni, New York Fashion Week passed and I still didn't publish the article. So yeah, exactly. That's not good, is it?
Not timely, yeah.
No,
that's okay.
No.
Oh God.
I think that, I think that's really interesting. Sophie's here, who, bless her, has been really through the ringer with me. I started bad form alone, but pretty fast asked Sophie to come on and help me. Thing is, when I first started, I didn't know what the process was of putting together the print mag. I didn't know what, how much work was in, so I couldn't delegate. So poor Sophie is brilliant, like truly brilliant, but I didn't know how to share things with her. So for the second issue, I said to her, look, I'm just going to do this one alone, if that's okay, because I don't know how to work in a team. And what that allowed me to do, the second and a bit of the third issue as well, was figure out the processes, what wasn't working, what was working, what I could scrap, what I needed to add. And then by the time that we were really like, you know, we've got a piece up pretty much every day now, a new piece of writing on the website. I said, Sophie, I really need help. Can you come back and be, you know, the deputy features editor? And then we got 2 more volunteers for a reviews editor and a copy editor, because I can't spell shit, as you'll see from honestly. And that was on a 3-month trial basis. They both stayed. They're both amazing. But I think for me, you know, again, like Halima was saying, like keeping it small has made it so much better. But it does mean that, you know, you are working crazy hours. Like I won't lie, I spend at least 2 to 3 hours a day on like days I'm not working on bad form. And then I'll spend 2 whole evenings and a full day on the weekend working on bad form. So, you know, a big team sounds amazing. I know I'm not the best manager. I'm just not. I'm quite a solitary person by nature. So I can't, you know, I can't deal with like handing more work over than I already do. And it's such an evolving process. Like, don't beat yourself up if you like give away too much and have to take some back, or don't give away enough and, you know, people are left without work. Like, you'll learn. You know, we're so young, and we're, you know, we're making this work. So yeah, for me, start small and grow. You'll know when you need a new team member. Trust me, you'll know.
Yeah, at the moment that. I am still a 1-woman team, but I don't know. God, you said something, Amy, and I was gonna like expand on it, but I forgot it. I'm just like Halima. But like I think like I know that like I will need to delegate, but I don't want to. I want to make sure like all the pieces are perfect and like great, and like nothing's being taken away from the writers. But like I know eventually, like when we do get a team together, that's not going to be possible. But, and I don't mean to call you out, but Halima, you're really like, you hate delegating. Like there's been like times where like I have to like really like you have assistant editors for a reason.
Yeah, I hate it when I tell people what to do. I hate it. Like, who am I to tell you what to do? But also,
you're the head editor.
I know.
I know.
But also, like, I just hate it. And I know people. I have a thing with this, Shane, where honestly I feel so much guilt as well. But anyway, I know people are busy, and I know that people have applied to they enjoy it. But I also know people are busy, and life just happens, and. So I never want to bother people more than I have to. And I think I'm trying to unlearn that slightly, because like if I don't give people a bit of a tap, then I'll end up doing too much work.
Yeah. And like I kind of made Denoument at probably the worst time I could, because I'm in my 3rd year. So I'm doing Denoument on top of dissertation work, on top of 4 modules. And
oh my God.
I'm doing like, I have like a YouTube channel that's really, I haven't uploaded for months. And it's just like, I have to do all of these and I'm also like writing for Ashamed and Denoument. So like, I'm going to need to delegate, because I can't do all 5 at the same time. Like I physically can't.
Well, I think,
carry on.
No, but like that is like fair enough. Like I think the other thing is that like if you need to take a break for an issue, also fine. Like life happens. There's never going to be an amazing time to set this thing up, but like it's got to happen at your own pace, and you will just end up feeling like an incredible amount of guilt. I'm like convinced that's like part and parcel of like setting up a magazine, that you like feel incredibly guilty all the time. Like A, for like everything not being perfect, and then B, for like not working as much as you can. It's like this weird like constant cycle. But like you're doing amazing. Like you did the thing, you know what I mean? Like that's incredible. Like you sat down and you're like, I want to do this, and you did this. And I feel like if everyone who did that, who thought something did that, I mean, we have like even like more magazines than we already do. Like it's a hard thing to do. And I love seeing people do it and be successful. Like it's so brilliant to see.
Yeah. God, I love you guys. I actually do. I love your publications.
I know.
So great. I was gonna ask, how do you guys manage your time? I think that's because I still need to learn. How do you manage time, like doing this? Because I'm very bad at Ashamed and my uni work.
Yeah.
I guess
I
it's a little fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. You can go.
No,
You
I
can
think
go.
I'm really bad at managing time. Like sometimes I'll forget that I have Denoument. I'm like, wait, shit, no, hang on, I need to go back.
Yeah. I wanted to add how, like, yeah, because me too, I don't know how to manage my time either. Yeah, this week was really hard for me personally. Like, I was so overwhelmed. Like, not about this workshop, but I was, like, just overwhelmed about everything. I'm like, oh my God, like, can I do this? And I kind of hit, not rock bottom, but I hit it, like, a really hard time. It was just, like, me fighting myself. Like, I had to remind myself, oh, like, why are you doing this? Because it was just really discouraging sometimes because you put in so much hours and I feel like there's not like a result, but I need to understand that like results take time. And I guess it's just ingrained in my head all the time. Like, oh, like, you know, you must, like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel accomplished. And again, as Amy was saying, it's like, I need to give myself some credit. I'm like, you're doing the most that you can. And I had to remind myself, and I wanted to show you my planner. So I can't live without these two planners. I have a personal one and then like a work one. So I feel like that's how you manage your time. Yes! Oh my God, I'm living. So yeah, get your planners, calendars, and then it'll work. I don't know. I feel like type
If anyone wants to pass a discount code, hit me up, because then we both get £10 off and just saying they're great.
Whoa, influencer, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty like, I was awful, really awful, and then I've done this like myself and the team where we both like, we all get like either like 3 evenings or 2 evenings in a day to just like bang it out. It doesn't always work like that. There's always something that needs to be copy edited at a weird time, but I'm trying to get myself in I think it's easier for me because I do the 9 to 5. I have more structure in my life than a student does. I'm trying to do like half an hour of emails a day, get them all done, and then on my Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, 3 hours of just like sitting there and doing stuff, and then on a Saturday just like in and out working all day, just because otherwise I'm the person who sits in front of their laptop for like hours and like doesn't get anything done, like tweets the magazine out for like 3 hours, and then I'm surprised that all my emails are piling up, like shocker. So I really think that writing stuff down, having a tick list, and a social and posting planner, oh my God, make yourself a Google Calendar and share it with all your editors and anyone who, you know, has access to it. That has changed our scheduling life. It really, because everyone can move it, and it just makes also your copy editor's life a lot easier if they know what's coming like in the next month or so.
I have a thing called Time Tree, which I got not a few months ago. So all the artists are on there, and all the editors are on there too. So I put the articles on there a month in advance, like a month-ish in advance. So yeah, so if things come in October, wait, what month is it? October, then it won't be out until next month is November, right? Yeah. It won't be on until the next month, because that's how I plan it. And if I don't plan it like that, then so things are on there a month in advance, so artists have time to make graphics, and editors have time, because I know the editors are also university students like me, so being able to have it in advance means that you can actually like get it done, and you can plan it. So that's how I run a show now. We're also accepting a lot less submissions now. I'm back at uni, which, because I think during the pandemic, and I don't even know if I can call it summer, during the summer, we were publishing a lot and stuff like that, and it was fun, but I did realize that I really wasn't having a summer also, when I really needed just a break. So we're accepting a lot less, which has made Ashamed a lot easier to manage for me at the moment.
What was the platform again? Linktree? No, not Linktree. Time Tree. Okay.
Fabulous. The thing that saved me at the minute.
Thank you. I'm just writing everything down, so yeah, carry on.
I heard a beat somewhere. I thought someone sent in a message.
Yeah, sorry, that was me. Sophie and I were just texting saying, "Oh my God, time we should look that up."
Okay. I know we're almost at the end of our time, so the last question I had was, do you have any advice for any other young people who are thinking about starting their own pubs? Do you have any advice for them that you wish that you had known? I think we kind of talked about that before, but that was my last question.
Be prepared to pay for a website domain.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I use Squarespace. I don't know if you guys use anything else.
Yeah, I use Squarespace.
Yeah? Okay, good. Yeah. So,
and it doesn't need to be flashy. Like, mine is dead simple.
Interesting.
What do you use, Amy?
I use Wix because of the blog integration. It's just a lot easier for me to post things. What about you? You post a lot of content. What do you?
Well, me.
Hmm.
Oh, Ashamed. I mean, sorry, Squarespace.
Yeah, I knew that bit. I did know that bit.
Oh
I am.
that. You are such a mood.
Serious from my mouth. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I
In
use
terms of
Squarespace.
advice, just think about why you want to do it and then just do it. Like you have a mission and see it through. Because literally Denoument took an hour to make, from thinking I wanted to do it to actually setting up the socials. So just do it. There's literally no other advice we can give you. You know why you want to create something. You know that you think it's important. So do it.
Yeah, and I wanted to say how, like, also, like, obviously just do it, but also do your research. Like, just learn, like, from all the sources online. Like, Google is amazing. Do all the free courses. Like, just do everything you can. Like, you know, like, indulge it, and yeah, you can do it. Just keep learning.
Also, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
you.
Go. No, I just wanted to say that. Keep learning,
like,
and yeah.
Talk to us. Like, if you want advice, like, we're so friendly. We're willing to answer any questions.
We didn't mention that,
Overly
but yes,
friendly.
of course.
Best thing I
Like,
did.
if you have any questions or doubts or anything, just like talk to us.
Yeah, before I started
like-
Shame, was probably like the best thing I did. I spoke to Vivian from Uniquely Aligned. I spoke to Cheyenne from Jawbreaker. I messaged them just randomly, like, hi, like, I want to start my own thing. Could you give me any advice? And like, they gave me just the best advice. Like, because I really didn't know how to move forward with Ashamed, like when I was first starting, and they just like invaluable advice. So definitely message these people and people like us, because we're so happy to.
Yeah, there's a real like zine community. Like, we're not gonna be like, oh no, we're too good for these peasants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to say it's so friendly. Like, I've only been in it for a month, but like, I'm just like, whoa, everyone is so nice. Like, I can't believe this. It's so nice.
Yeah, like, I've gone to a couple of magazines, like, do you have any writers I can message? And they're like, this one. These people are happy to write for you. I'm just like, that's so friendly.
I just love magazines. Like,
So welcoming.
Love magazines. So like, why wouldn't you be nice to everyone who are making things that I also love? Do you know what I mean?
If we're gonna be finishing soon, should we all like talk about how you can like submit pieces to us or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Harima, if you want to go first.
Oh, you can check our website, check the submit page, all the content.
Oh my goodness. Oh wait, someone messaged. Oh, it's Izzy.
You guys, go on, Izzy.
Hi, I'm going to put my microphone on and just speak it instead. But I thank you guys so much for chatting. It's been really interesting and really good to listen to. And I just wanted to ask you guys some questions before you ran off.
Sure.
I think the first question I had, because it came up kind of earlier on, was about everything you're saying. Obviously, your like engagement increased a lot over like the BLM activity, like the movement and the kind of protests that have been happening recently. How is your engagement now? I was wondering if it's kind of sustained, because at least what I've seen on social media, you know, obviously there was a big surge at the beginning, obviously, and I feel that a lot of the time, as you said as well, with brands as well, there was kind of a lot of jumping on the bandwagon and kind of, you know, Blackout Tuesday and all these kind of things on social media, which were a bit, you know, arguably performative, and kind of a lot of I guess a lot of social media engagement, and then which I haven't seen of much of recent, like as much, you know, recently, as much content being created, and the kind of as much, I guess, educate, like, you know, kind of mainstream education in the same kind of way that it was at the beginning, when lots of people were educating themselves and maybe looking for spaces to educate themselves. And I just wanted to know how your engagement is now. Like, is it kind of dropped, or has it stayed the same?
Mine, I guess, it's like, it's stagnant. Like, it's not like a lot, but it's not like less either. It's just like, it's going. I don't know. That's just for my case, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a really interesting question. Like our Instagram, for example, our viewership. I posted an image. I've been telling my team this loads. I posted an image a month ago. It was shared twice. It was shown to 3,400 people. A list that we shared this week was shared 127 times, and it was seen by 2,800 people. Instagram is hiding our content. It's not just us, it's a lot of small businesses. You know, social media is no longer the platform for us that it used to be. You need to drive to your website. I cannot underline that enough. Just because you have a high follow account or likes, etc., does not mean you're going to sell magazines. If you are really interested in getting into print, you need to motivate people in other ways. You need to, I wish we'd, you know, invested in our Twitter earlier. You get a lot higher click-through. I wish we'd invested in our newsletter earlier. You get a much higher click-through and sales. If you're a digital magazine, it's something I have less experience with and can't advise there. But we have been able to sort of, we didn't profit at all. Our sale, you know, number of magazine sales were the same before and after BLM. They're growing now, but organically, I think, because our content is getting better, our magazine's getting better. So I think that would be my underline is that social media, although it's a lot easier to see magazines on them, if you're interested in the magazine community, it's really what your platform is going to be. At the end of the day, it's going to be people coming to your website who are interested in reading your things. Like I go to Ashamed's website because I know there's always going to be new content there and I enjoy reading it. And I figure other people will be doing the same on bad form. Actually, I know they are because you can track your web stats. You know, 50% of our readership on our website comes directly to badformwebreview.com. Like they type that into their search bar. So I just want to underline, I wish someone had said that to me earlier. You know, your website is important. That's where everything happens. Your social media engagement doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day.
Yeah. With Ashamed, with the Black Lives Matter movement, we did increase, and then I did see a decrease in people engaging in our content when momentum kind of, you know, whatever. But I guess it was also with like the people would share things that from Ashamed that was related to BLM, but then when you'd see like these crazy amounts of numbers and people sharing this stuff, and then when I check the website to see who's actually read it, were people reading it? Not really.
I noticed that too. Like, what? No one's actually clicking to read things, but the impressions is crazy. Like everyone's getting it and liking it.
Post it to look like, oh, this thing is important, but they also haven't read what the person has said. So yeah, that's really interesting. We said though, Amy, because I think like Instagram is Ashamed's main platform, but I also don't want it to be Ashamed's main platform. And I think that's why, like, I can't remember when I updated Ashamed's website. I think it might have been, we took a hiatus after Christmas, and then the website became updated. I think it might have been like when Corona started, but I really wanted to just invest in the website and make it nice, because the Instagram is nice, calm, but like you have, like, I feel like the website is so important. So I really wanted to like spend the money to make Ashamed's website like nice. But also like that's just what you said about Twitter. I think I need to start like making sure that our other platforms are growing in the same way, because at the end of the day, social media it really isn't everything. And now Ashamed want to start doing print, and we have our first print issue coming out for Black History Month. It's very beautiful, guys.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Yes.
Yeah, it's just like knowing that these like social media isn't everything. But yeah, Ashamed did see the whole grow and then boom, like in engagement, especially on Instagram. But that was just for us. Yeah, that was very long-winded to answer your questions. I'm sorry.
No, it's just it was just an interest as when you guys were talking about it earlier. I just wondered because obviously I saw like on social media. You saw this kind of big expanse, and then personally I saw like it kind of diminish, and I just wondered kind of how that played out, you know, in actual people engaging with content that may be, you know, educational for them or actually kind of further their, you know, their growth and their progression. So I was just interested. And I have one last question, which is a hard one to answer, I guess. Well, not a hard one, but a big one. So obviously, you've all gone out there, as you're saying, go out there and just do it and create a space. You know why you wanna start something. I think that's great advice. And you've all created spaces that, for what you wanted to do, what you wanted to say. What do you think is still left to be said, or what is lacking from the zine community? You've all kind of gone out and created your own space for, whatever reason it is, whatever you kind of wanted to present, whatever content you kind of wanted to make and show. Do you think there's anything that is still lacking from the community as a whole? A kind of space that not needs to be created as in, give me a whole new idea for a zine, but what do you think, from the community, from the wider zine world, from the kind of publishing industry, what do you think is still lacking?
I actually feel like I feel like no one's really doing these kind of workshops like when all magazines come together, because I feel like it's like my magazine, what I'm doing, come to me, and like no one's really collaborating or like helping each other out. So I feel like this is a really good tool to like, I hope everyone does this, because like I'm so thankful for this opportunity, because I'm talking to like 4 other like editors with their own magazine from like across the world. So it's I feel like this is what's missing, like I guess more of the zine leaders coming together in a way, because I feel like that would make a lot of sense if they did come together. It would be like a little government, and then let the ideas like kind of go. I don't know.
I think in like terms of like what's missing, like again, like I really do think there's a gap for men of color. Like I think true. It's like especially like Black men or like Asian men, because they're quite like, they've learnt this form of masculinity where they can't express themselves creatively, or they can't like talk about their opinions. Like when we think of like a tortured artist, we think of like Timothée Chalamet or the like. But like I feel like there is a real space for men of color that isn't being explored.
That's a really good point, because I feel like there is a stigma like when you're just like, if you're like a male, like you can't really express yourself like your emotions or anything. So I feel like it's so much harder to even put yourself out there like creatively. So I feel like we need to tackle that. That's a really important issue.
I don't know really, like that's a massive question, so I don't.
Sorry, it was a bit of a bitch. I knew when I said it, I was like, it was a bit of a hard one, but I was just interested, and I think what you said about the kind of space for men of color is really interesting as well. And when you said that, nothing is coming to my mind. I can't think of any zines kind of specifically focused around. I can think of articles and kind of photo shoots and content, but not like that I've seen. But I can hardly think of any kind of whole publications or spaces for men of color to to write, to create in the same way that we have a lot for lots of other different things. Like not as many are coming to my mind as a lot of other kind of so I think that's a really interesting one, and probably something that needs to be.
Like I've read articles written by like men of color, but I can't think of any publications that have like actually advertised that they are for men of color too, as well as women or non-binary people. Like men have always sort of been like an afterthought, like if you like fine, but like we're not really for you type of deal. And I think that needs to change.
Oh yeah.
I've got my coronavirus result. I'm negative. Sorry, I got really distracted.
Oh! Yes.
I got mine earlier today. I'm also negative.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I think that's interesting with the men of color thing too as well. I think because I think when I started Ashamed, I was like, I don't want a space for cis men. Like I no, thank you. Like I wasn't like thinking about them. I think my feminism was always kind of just about looking at like women, non-binary people, trans people. Like I feel like the people that I feel are hurt by cis men. That's where my feminism has always been. And I think that's the great thing with feminism, is that your feminism is always meant to be evolving. So I recently read a really great book by Bell Hooks called The Will to Change: Men, Masculinity and Love. And it looked at men in feminism and just the way the patriarchy harms men and the way that women internalize patriarchy and harm men as well. So after reading that, my whole kind of my stance with it about men and feminism and the way I view my feminism really changed. And I read this over the pandemic. Well, the pandemic is still happening, so over the summer. Really just like, I don't know, like it just changed. It made me think about ashamed and the people that I want to represent. But yeah, that's the thing that I'm thinking about at the minute. But great book, I highly recommend. Yeah.
What was it called again? Masculinity and Love.
It's The Will to Change: Men, Masculinity and Love by Bell Hooks. It's amazing.
Bell Hooks.
Yeah.
I'm
Bell
writing
Hooks
it
is
in.
a good
I would
scholar.
love to read that.
I love Bell Hooks.
We stand.
Yes. Okay, I'm just.
That's all my questions. I mean, if no one else from the audience has any questions, then that is my questions. I mean, you guys have been great. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting.
Thank you for organizing this.
Yes.
I know. Thank you.
No, literally no problem. I've been putting on a few workshops. We have one left actually, from Mental Realness Mag. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like, yeah, it's run by a woman called Lisa, who lives in the States actually, so another international one for me.
Oh.
But she's lovely, and it's about Black femmes like navigating mental health. It's the principle of her zines. And yeah, we've had 5 workshops, and each one has been really different and really interesting and really educational. And I wanted to put on a series for people kind of, yeah, trying to get into the industry or whatever, or unsure, you know, about topics from within it or how to do certain things. And I thought that it's so interesting just to have people come and chat about what they do, you know, or their experiences or whatever they really want, really. I kind of just approached publications that I liked and I admired for their numerous different reasons, and kind of asked them what they'd like to talk about, because I think one thing, I love stuff like this, and I love listening to people talk and like learning from other people. You know, I'll always take the opportunity to learn. And I think when I kind of wanted to start a publication and stuff, I would have really appreciated hearing what other people had to say and learning from other people. So I thought I'd organize some stuff, and this one has been great. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. If no one has any questions,
Oh,
and then I will say bye.
Okay.
please share that. Yeah, I want to share that.
If no one
Yeah.
has questions, then I guess I will say goodbye to you all. Thank you all so much.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
guys. It's so lovely talking to you all.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice
Nice to
Have a
meet
good
you.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.